Alright, welcome again to another Warhammer 40k 6th edition battle report at Greenfield Games in Greenfield, Mass. We are doing 2 versus 2 match today. It's going to be Dark Eldar and Space Marines versus Tau with Space Wolf allies and orcs. We're playing Emperor's Will with short edge table sides. This is what the board looks like terrain-wise. And here is the 1,250 points of Dark Eldar with a... Are these going to be Space Wolves?
Space Marines.
Space Wolf allies. So what do we got?
What we got? I'm not sure what these are. Got a Raider, a Venom. Each one has a group of witches, one including Lilith Hesperax, a Talos Pain Engine, a 5-man squad of Hellions, and a troop of Kabalite Warriors.
And I believe the Space Wolves is a Space Marine captain and squad of Marines and a Rhino. Here's the Space Marines. 10-man squad with missile launcher and a Razorback, combat squatted. 10-man squad with a missile launcher, flamer, and a Rhino. Librarian in Terminator armor with a telekinesis power. Scout squad with Sergeant Telion. Devastator squad with 2 las cannons, missile launcher, and heavy bolter. The Land Raider going standard, just extra storm bolter. And newly painted squad of bikes, plain bikes. Here is Dan's Tau. Looks like his pretty standard 2 squads of fire warriors. Crisis suit looks like it has a fancy gun on it. Airbuster and a burst cannon on it. 2 hammerheads. A squad of crew. Nice looking crew. And then what's with the Space Wolves?
Long Fangs packs. They all have missiles.
Long Fangs or Long
And this guy's my Warlord. He's the Rune Priest. And there are 10 Marines in here, 2 Flamers, and the one guy has a Power Sword.
Alright, and finally we got the orcs over here. The orcs in their mass.
We got 3 groups of 20 boys with knobs, and one group of shooter boys. We got a knob squad, really heavy there with the war boss. We got big guns, lavas, big guns, just the cannons, with Grodd of course, and the looter squad and Docketjet.
Alright, and Dark Eldar and Space Marines are starting to deploy. We're going to deploy, and we'll be back. Alright, so here's deployment. We got pretty obvious deployment here. I'll show you the backed up view. Orcs as far as you can see. Lots and lots of orcs in the front. Space Wolves there, the Long Fangs, and the other squad is in the Rhino. Bigger orc gear back there, hammerheads back there, big guns there, and then all these guys up in the buildings. Over here the scouts and Talion infiltrated there. Dark Eldar ready to fly forward. This one's hiding behind the building. Land Raider, Rhino, other Rhino with the allied Space Wolves. My HQ's back here on this objective there, and their objective, where's their objective, is here. Alright, orcs and Tau will be going first.
You mentioned it was night fight?
It is night fighting, turn 1. Alright, this is turn 1 for the orcs and Tau. Pretty much in a nutshell, everybody, the orcs move forward, and anyone that could see via night fighting dumped fire into Telion and his scout squad, wiping them out. They absorbed a ton of fire. I think it was mortar hits that landed here. I forget. Anyway, No, it was Tau fire into there, killed Hellion, and some mortar shots went on this squad and drifted onto that. What's that creature called?
Talos.
Talos, and it didn't take any wounds. That's pretty much it. See the board from far away. And we'll be back with turn 1 for the Space Marines and the Dark Eldar. Alright, here is the result of Dark Eldar Space Marine turn 1. Pretty much the bikes moved forward and shot ineffectively. Night fighting was in effect, so that made it good for the Tau. The Devastators also fired, but night fighting prevented any damage. The Razorback fired, and I think took out a couple of orcs. These fired and took out more orcs. The Land Raider and the missile launcher in the back of this Rhino fired into these orcs, taking out a few. And I think did this have a lance on it and shot?
Yeah.
And this monstrous creature also fired in. Pretty much we damaged the orcs and this orc squad, and then the Hellions tried to charge the Tau, but Overwatch was really successful and the Hellions are down. We'll be back with turn 2, give you a little look at the big board. So this is the end of turn 2 for the Tau and orcs. What happened?
Orcs moved around a lot, Tau moved around. DockJet came in, destroyed the what is that thing called? The Raider, and took out some of the witches inside. The crew came in. I think they killed some of the...
Yeah, the crew came in and took out some Devastators.
Right.
And I think also some... the Tau fired into these bikes, killed 2, and made the Sergeant run away 10 inches.
These orcs shot up these Cobalite warriors and took down a whole bunch. These looters shot at the Talos Pain Engine and did a wound. These orcs assaulted this raider and ended up glancing it to death and losing 2 orcs to the open top thingy. That's really all that happened overall.
Pretty effective round. I would say a pretty effective round for the orcs and Tau. We'll be back with turn 2 for Dark Eldar. Alright, here's the results of turn 2 for the Space Marines and orcs. Oh, geez.
Space Marines Dark Eldar.
Right, Space Marines Dark Eldar. Sorry, Space Marines Dark Eldar. This did some missile launcher and Stormbolter softened it up, and then the witches came in and assaulted the heck out of these orcs, wiping them out, moving into the building a little bit. The Land Raider tried to take on the Hammerhead and was ineffective. We are trying out the new missile that allows Skyfire, and that fired into the orc plane and did a hull point, and I believe these Dark Eldar, yeah, oh no, this guy, the Beast, fired into the plane and did another hull point. The Librarian took a wound because he always perils, and the witches engaged the crew and wiped them out. Yep, wiped them out completely. And that is about it. There's what the remains of turn 2 look like. Alright, this was turn 3 for Tau and orcs. A whole lot happened. What did happen, Evan?
The Looter Boys up here and Dolan here shot at the witches who were in this building and managed to actually kill every single one that was in there, surprisingly. These orcs ran. These orcs tried to shoot at the Talos Pain Engine ineffectively. The knobs ran. DockJet killed some Orcs, or not Orcs, Space Marines, they need to take leadership, and the mortars hit them as well. And then the Space Wolves, who were allied with the Tau, flamed the rest of the witches to death.
It has 4 large blasts.
And I think that
It's a monocyte missile.
Longfangs wrecked the Rhino, and those Space Marines popped out. And that's pretty much it. Fast and Furious here, turn 3. We got. All right, this was our turn 3. Space Marines and Dark Eldar turn 3. Let's see. Pretty much all the Space Marines on this side of the board. The Librarian did his power. The missile launcher shot a frag missile. The lone biker sergeant fired. These 2 guys fired. These Space Marines hopped out and fired. The heavy bolter up here and the storm bolter fired. Took out all those Space Wolves and made those guys fail leadership and run. Over here, the Land Raider exploded the Hammerhead. That was exciting. And the hopped out Space Marines fired some frag missiles and bolter shots into the Orcs, taking out some. And how about the Dark Eldar? They got...
they did. The Kabbalites killed the Orcs over there.
Kabbalites fired into those Orcs, killing some, and the witches that were over here got wiped. Well, that was last turn. And that's pretty much the onslaught as it is right now. We'll be back to turn 4. Turn 4 for Tau and Orcs. What all happened?
Hammerhead blew up the tank full of these Space Wolves and killed a whole bunch of them. Then something else. Oh, the Fire Warriors took out like the rest. There was one guy left. The Orcs assaulted him, killed him, and they are moving towards these guys here. Knobs ran. Those guys moved. Big Guns took one Dark Elder guy there down.
These Fire Warriors wiped out these Devastators. I think that's about it. We'll be back with Space Marine Dark Eldar turn. Alright, here we are, turn 4 for the Space Marines and Dark Eldar. Pretty much all the Space Marines on this side of the board. That squad, this biker, pumped fire into the Fire Warriors. Killed 3, they failed leadership and ran back. These guys moved to get near the objective. The Land Raider and this squad of Marines fired into the Orcs and took out a ton, but they made their leadership, and now there's going to be 3 remaining Orcs over here. And then, what happened over here? I wasn't paying attention.
Basically, the Talos Paint engine charged, took out 3 knobs. The rest of them couldn't consolidate close enough to be in base contact, so they're kind of in limbo. But they did 2, 4, 6 moves, and I failed leadership, so now I've got to roll to see if they're going to get all killed in one shot.
Alright, and that pretty much wraps up the turn. That's what the board looks like.
What's your highest base? My highest base is
We need to fight on.
So this was turn 5.
We have a rebuttal.
Go ahead and roll.
Turn.
Oh,
it's turn 5.
You guys have a turn. Yeah, you're right.
Go ahead and roll and see if the game continues.
It would end.
The game does end.
After you go.
Oh, the game will end after we go. So let me tell you what happened during... maybe you should tell me what happened during turn 5. We had an assault over here.
Alright, the assault happened. The Orcs retaliated. This thing's dead, but it's a nice model, so we don't want to put it on the side. Orcs killed it. It was awesome.
Alright, the paint engine got wiped out by the Orcs.
Doggerjet came back in.
Doggerjet came back in
and shot these guys.
Killed some
shot
Space
guys.
Marines over there.
Shot those guys.
The Space Wolves over here fired and killed a bunch, or killed 2 Space Marines. The Sergeant still survives. Everyone pretty much pushing pressure on the objective, which is tenuously held here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to do one more turn, and then that'll be the end of the game. So that is the end of the game, turn 5 for the Space Wolves and Dark Eldar. Basically what happened is all the Space Marines pumped fire over here into those guys and killed all but one. The Land Raider took out a nice chunk of orcs over here, and it was a nice final round thing to take out the Daka Jet with one of those Skyfire missiles. And end results, Space Marines hold one objective, Tau and Orcs hold that objective, but Orcs and Tau got First Blood, Linebreaker, and slayed the Dark Eldar Warlord. It's going to be 6 points for the Tau Orcs and 3 points for the Space Marines and Dark Eldar. Evan, good game. Dakota, awesome being your partner. And Dan, good game. That's going to be it for us playing Warhammer 40k 6th edition at Greenfield Games in Greenfield, Mass. Here's how it ended up. A lot of fun. And thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and leave comments.